Welcome to Chandwell. It's the 22nd of July and this is the morning update from my big 7-day push to get as much of the cathedral N-scale card model built as I can. Not much to show this morning. I've got the paper mock-up of the north aisle in place. I've been working on this all morning. Let's join myself a few hours ago and see how I got on. Okay, so I've got a comment here from DB08JY8PG. Whoever you are, thank you very much. You say that my rambling is really helpful as I describe my process. So here's some rambling about the north aisle. When I opened this file this morning, it's been well over a year since I drew this. I drew it to make the mock-up, and all I've done was just put a rectangle of roughly the right size. So I've had to draw this completely this morning. I started at 8 o'clock, it's now 20 past 10, and I think I'm more or less done. So, interesting things about this is that on the right-hand side, the two windows are taller than the windows on the left-hand side. That is because the ground goes up from the right up to the left. The porch is on here as well, so I've popped that in. And essentially, to get the dimensions right, I just counted the number of crenellations and then slotted them between the buttresses. Interestingly as well, there are half crenellations at the end that go against the buttresses. Once I'd got that worked out, and obviously, and then the measurement of the aisle itself, everything else is slotted into place quite nicely. So I eventually, I've managed to get that done. I haven't done the window tracery yet. That's going to take a little bit more effort, but I want to actually start getting the wall cut and put onto the model just to see where it is. So I'm going to start doing that now. The windows, just like on the nave, are beveled inwards, so I'll make this using 3 sheets of 0.5mm card, each one with the window aperture slightly larger to get that nice beveled edge. So I'm going to start that now. This bit here is where the transept will go, so there's no detail on that because that will be hidden within the model. So I'm going to get that done now then, and then we'll start cutting out. Alright then, so that took quite a lot of doing, but I think I'm in a decent enough place to start doing it. Sadly, it only fits on one sheet. Only one of them fits on one sheet of A4, so I'm going to have to use 3 sheets of labels for this one, but that's okay. These new labels that I've bought are not as good as the old ones. They're they don't smooth out very easily, and it's very easy to get them creased. I've wasted a few labels recently because of that, but this one seems to have gone on okay. So I've only printed one of them to start with because until I actually cut it out and then put it on the model, I won't know for certain whether I've got the measurements right, whether it's actually going to fit, whether it's going to work or not. So we'll find out. So I'm using 0.5mm card. Each one I've printed out has these windows at a slightly different size, so that when I wrap the texture around them later, it will add a nice bevel to the window, so it looks as though it's recessed inwards with a nice bevel. So we'll see how that goes. So also quite amused to see that this top crenellation here, it's taller than the others. And it overlaps the aisle, the wing a little bit. So having had the wings already made and all the drawings in place, that helped me get this one in the right place as well. So I'm hoping that that works out okay. For now, I'm just going to cut it across roughly, because obviously if this is the wrong shape or the wrong size, I don't want to waste my time cutting out all these crenellations. Sometimes I wonder whether it's better to cut the crenellations out once I've glued the 3 bits of paper together, the 3 bits of card. The advantage of that is I get them all exactly the same. The disadvantage is it's quite a pain cutting through 1.5mm worth of card, so I think I'll do it individually. Okay, nearly there, so we'll get this bit cut out and then we'll see what's next. Thank you for all of your comments yesterday and today on yesterday's 2 videos. One from Chris Southgate 4554 talking about folding paper. It's an interesting comment that you made about paper folds more easily one way than the other depending upon the grain, which makes sense. And also about wetting the paper gets better folds. That's really interesting. It's something I've not tried, especially with texture, because once obviously the ink is on there, I don't want to risk wetting it again to fold it. But it's something I'll certainly bear in mind and maybe do some experiments with. I'd be interested to hear how you do it, if you do it in any models. Just that would be really interesting. Right, let's get this onto the model and see if it works. Oh, I'm sad to say I've made a schoolboy error here. If we look, this doesn't slot in. It actually overlaps this by a little bit, by about the width of the thing there. So what have I done? Have I managed to glue all of the model together with a 3mm inaccuracy, or is it something much more fundamental? Sadly, it's much more fundamental. I wasn't paying attention. So let's have a look at this. I went back to the actual plan that I had, and I realised that here I'd drawn the aisle already overlapping the wing. And I didn't realise that when I was drawing it. So I've actually drawn the thing. This is the full width of the aisle overlapping the wing. I didn't think I'd overlapped it, so I added an extra overlap on here. So the problem is I've now made the whole thing about 2mm too wide. So it's a little bit of redrawing now. Just jiggle it all around a little bit and we'll get that sorted. Okay, so I made the slight adjustment. You can't really tell much difference in terms of the crenellations. Each crenellation is just a fraction of a millimetre smaller than it was. And I've printed it onto some cheap copier paper, so I'm not wasting a label or some card. And that goes in there almost perfectly. I think that's good enough. Anything else that I need to trim, I'll just trim it off this edge and make the transept a fraction of a millimetre smaller. So I think that is now fixed. Still ever so slightly too wide, but I think that's going to be all right. And it starts to give some kind of feeling as to how it's all going to go together. So I'm thinking this is okay. It all depends on the height of the bit at the top of that. Just want to check that I've got that lining up properly. I should maybe have printed the whole thing out just to check the lines. In fact, I might do that now so that I'm not wasting any paper later on. Let me do that, and then I'm going to break for lunch. There we are. That fits in just right. So a couple of things to check is, first of all, this corner here, that big window next to the window in the wing, and this bit here, this line, which is the bottom of the window, lines up directly with this plinth on the wing, and this line is higher than the bit of the plinth at the bottom of the wing. So all of that being said, if we look at the actual photo of the cathedral, that's about right. So this is where the overlapping crenellation is. This line here matches up with this line here. This plinth here lines up with the base of the window, and then this plinth here is higher than that one down there on the wing. And you can see here why it's bigger on this side. That's a much lower piece of ground up the steps than this bit. So I think that looks okay. Let's come back here and just check where the transept will join the nave. So there's 1, 2, 3 windows in. So do I have a picture of it from further apart, further away? Let's have a look. I should do. I'll have to find some different pictures. I can't check that right now, but I do have some extra pictures elsewhere. I'll double check that. However, it is now 11 o'clock. I'm going to take a break, get this video uploaded. So there we are, full morning's modelling, and all I've ended up with is a piece of paper that slots in there. But that's okay. That's how these things work sometimes. The length of time isn't just in the cutting and the building, it's in the thinking and the observing. So a good morning's thinking and observing is not a waste of time. I think we'll make some good progress this afternoon. We'll definitely get this aisle in place. Probably won't get the south one done. But that's okay. That's what tomorrow's for. Okay, everybody. Bye for now.